Zodia Custody is expanding its institutional reach. The digital asset custody platform backed by SC Ventures is also expanding in the Asia-Pacific region, opening a new office in Sydney. The firm helps banks and asset managers manage tokenization, custody, and compliance as digital asset strategies move from pilots to live implementation. Well, joining us from Abu Dhabi today is Julian Sawyer, CEO at Zodia Custody and former CEO at Bitstamp. Julian, thank you so much for joining me. It has been a busy week in Abu Dhabi with ADFW.
So first,
tell us how Zodia Custody ensures security as well as regulatory compliance for institutional investors.
I think when we look at custody, it is the bedrock of digital assets. If you get custody right, then everything can build from there. So we've been super excited to be in Abu Dhabi this week and really working with our clients and the regulators in terms of what and how custody can work for the digital asset industry.
And tokenization has been a key theme in 2025. So tell us about some of the challenges banks as well as asset managers face when it comes to tokenization and how your platform actually addresses some of those challenges.
Yeah, I mean, tokenization has been a big topic in 2025, and I think it's going to grow even more over the next few years. And I think that's where all the experts are talking about. I think when you look at what the challenges are, it is around regulation, it is around consistency of regulation, but it's also about standards. So we as an industry have always worked in financial services on standards, and we need to develop those as an industry, as a set of regulators as well. And so really the industry is in a very nascent part of its growth plans. We're playing an important part in that growth and working with a whole bunch of partners as well.
And you're in Abu Dhabi, and so far you've taken part in the Further Network Summit panel on next-gen custody solutions, as well as best practices, as well as the Blockchain Abu Dhabi panel on stablecoins in the balance, navigating trust and scale. So tell us about the key takeaways, and I also want to hear about some of the standards that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I think the other feature of Abu Dhabi Finance Week not only has been tokenization, but also stable coins. And I think what we are seeing is a whole bunch of new stablecoin issuers, whether they are banks, whether they are central banks. And I think that is really exciting. So the market is exploding. I think we will see consolidation. We will see the emergence of those winners. We see stable coins dominated by the US dollar stable coins. I think we'll see other non-US dollar coming in, and that becomes a really interesting part as we find the next use case. The first use case was how to trade on crypto exchanges using stable coins, and I think now we're looking for those next ones, which is probably trade finance, remittance processing, etc. But there is a real set of conversations going on in Abu Dhabi this week, which are about solving real-world problems with stablecoins and also tokenization.
And I do want to expand on Zodia staking as well as custody services. So can you walk us through how they work in practice, especially when it comes to the institutional side?
Yeah, so we offer two things. We offer custody services under a regulated regime. So we are regulated in Europe, in the Middle East, as well as Asia. And that enables organizations to use us as a third-party custodian. We also offer our software as a service where mainly large regulated financial institutions are using our platform, controlling it, managing it in their own technology stack, and really being able to utilize this. And I think what is important is every single financial institution in the world are going to have to look and adopt this technology, the technology of blockchain. Whether you like crypto, whether you like stablecoins or tokenization of real-world assets, you're going to have this technology, and you're going to have to partner. And so I think what's happening is a lot of institutions are thinking about who do they partner with, what's their DNA, what's the right set of technology and solutions that are out there. So I think it's a real maturing in the market, and I think it's also opening the door to a whole bunch of new users, new institutions who are trying to solve for this challenge and what it means for the financial services industry.
And speaking of which, looking ahead to 2026, what is on your radar when it comes to institutional adoption of digital assets, and what do you think comes next?
So I think what's interesting with institutional adoption is there hasn't been a date where you go, this is when it happened. We are in the mass market. We've moved from the innovators and early adopters. We've seen, BlackRock's ETF is a fantastic example. There's a whole range of other examples of where institutions are slowly and in some cases rapidly adopting this. The regulatory regime, particularly in Abu Dhabi, but across the world, is developing and emerging. And I think we're just going to see lots of proof points. And I think one of the things that is interesting is, what are we solving for? And using this technology to solve real-world problems, whether that's tokenization of securities, whether that is digital money, stable coins, whether that's crypto. And I think that's the really interesting point. So I think you'll see a whole bunch of companies that we didn't know were working on things suddenly coming to the market with some very interesting innovations in 2026.
Well, Julian, we will have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us all the way from Abu Dhabi today, and thank you so much for sharing your insights and perspective.
Thank you for your time.